What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Oh So Simplified. Thanks for tuning into the channel. You see the title. So this video is about life is all about positioning. So to start this off, this really comes from watching a lot of videos and different content that's out there that really focuses mostly on results and an outcome. Now obviously you want a good result and a good outcome, but that's kind of like a lagging indicator in terms of what you're doing. So process is obviously first and foremost for any result, but that's a topic that I've covered many times. But now I want to kind of focus more on the positioning aspect and how positioning is going to affect that. And a great example of this would be, if you had $1 million from winning the lottery versus $1 million or even $500,000 starting your own and working your own business. Obviously, if you win the lottery, the money that you made, it's a great result, but it has nothing to do with your position. You don't have really any added human capital resources, as in like connections and people you know. You don't have any know-how or technical knowledge that helped you do that besides just randomly picking numbers or scratching things off. Your relative position is basically the same. All you have is a bunch of money to do with, which is obviously better than having none. But if you compare it to $500,000 from business you created and things you did, you are going to be in a way better position. Number one, you have something that you can actually grow, make bigger. You probably have connections, whether it's clients, people that are working in the industry that you've made connections and networked with, your different vendors that you've worked with. You have a name, you have a reputation, maybe even your employees. The position you're in to make moves and to make exponential growth is way higher than the person that only has the $1 million. So that's kind of the first point, and that's kind of the foundation of what I'm trying to explain here. So moving on to the second point. So the second point is that an advantage position makes things easier. So if you look at things more linearly, like as you go up and just making that more simple, you're going to have a better vantage point, a better view, and things are going to be easier because you're going to know more. There is actually in The Art of War by Sun Tzu, there is a section in it where he talks about having the higher ground. And if you know anything about me, I also do like jujitsu and things like that, and the same principle works there. That basically he says you never want to attack opponent on the higher ground, because the person on the higher ground has the advantage. It's going to take more work to run uphill and then attack it. It's kind of the same idea in a business. If you're trying to destroy a competitor and you're very small, it's going to be way harder for you to do it than the other way around. And it's the kind of the same idea as the guy that plays video games and just sits at home and eating Doritos and just jerking off all day, thinking that he's going to go and pick up the hottest chick in the club. You're kind of coming from a disadvantaged position. You're coming from the position of not being in a great position to make that move. You're shooting a moonshot. You're shooting a shot that is not really within your line of sight. Whereas if you're in a advantaged position in both those situations, if you are the big business, if you are somebody that is of a higher value, has their shit together and knows how to kind of approach somebody, you're going to be in a better situation in both of those examples. So generally, being in a better position is going to lead to more results, but it's also going to make it a lot easier than if you just stay at a lower position. And this really goes to whatever. I know it's a little bit vague, but staying in a lower position is just going to make it harder. So you should be more focused on improving your position and whatever you're trying to gain, rather than just the end goal of what you're trying to do, especially if you're not there at this point.